This tank wasn't supposed to win. It was outgunned, out-armored, and in a straight fight, outmatched. Against monsters like the Tiger and the King Tiger, the Sherman didn't stand a chance. And yet, it won the war, not by being stronger, not by being better, but by doing something far more dangerous. It kept coming, again, and again, and again. Because while other tanks fought battles, the Sherman fought the war. The M4 Sherman became the backbone of Allied armored forces during World War II. And from the beginning, it was never meant to be the most powerful tank on the battlefield. It was designed for something else entirely: speed, reliability, production. Because American doctrine understood something critical. War isn't won by the best machine. It's won by the one that keeps fighting. At first glance, the Sherman doesn't look impressive. Its armor was thinner than German heavy tanks. Its gun, a 75mm, later upgraded to a 76mm, struggled against heavily armored targets. Against a Tiger, it was at a disadvantage. In many cases, a Sherman had to get dangerously close, or rely on flanking maneuvers, just to have a chance. Which meant one thing: if you fought alone, you lost. But the Sherman was never meant to fight alone. And that's where everything changes. Because while a Tiger might destroy one Sherman, there were always more, and that wasn't an accident. The Sherman was built for mass production. Thousands rolled off assembly lines, faster than any heavy tank could ever be produced. And in war, numbers matter. Because one powerful tank can only be in one place at a time. But hundreds, they control the battlefield. The Sherman was also one of the most reliable tanks of its time. Its engine worked. Its systems were simple. Its design allowed for rapid repairs, which meant when a Sherman broke down, it didn't stay down. It was fixed, refueled, and sent back into combat. And that created something most tanks didn't have: consistency. Because while German tanks struggled with mechanical issues, fuel shortages, and complex maintenance, the Sherman kept moving. And in war, movement is everything. It could cross terrain quickly, support infantry, exploit breakthroughs, and most importantly, it could stay in the fight. But that doesn't mean it didn't have flaws. Because it did. Its armor was vulnerable, and early versions had a serious issue. When hit, they had a tendency to catch fire, earning them the nickname Ronson. And that reputation stuck. To many crews, the Sherman felt like a risk. But here's what often gets missed. Because while individual Shermans were vulnerable, the system behind them wasn't. They weren't fighting alone. They had air support, artillery, infantry coordination. And that changed everything. Because modern warfare isn't about isolated fights. It's about combined power. And the Sherman was perfectly built for that environment. Instead of trying to win every duel, it helped win every battle. And over time, that adds up. Allied forces learned how to use it effectively, flanking enemy tanks, overwhelming positions, and applying constant pressure. And slowly, relentlessly, they pushed forward. Because the Sherman didn't need to be the strongest tank. It just needed to be there, everywhere, all the time. And that's something its enemies couldn't match. Because while German tanks were powerful, they were rare, difficult to maintain, and often unavailable when needed most. And in war, that's a problem. Because the battlefield doesn't reward perfection, it rewards presence. And the Sherman was always present. By the end of the war, this became undeniable. The tank that wasn't the strongest was the one still fighting, still advancing, still winning. And that's what makes the Sherman so important. It proves something that still applies today. That power alone isn't enough. Because the best weapon is the one that works, the one that shows up, the one that keeps going, no matter what. And that's exactly what the Sherman did. Not the strongest, not the most feared, but the one that won. If you want more breakdowns like this, make sure to subscribe, because the next system might completely change how you see modern warfare.